Here in Riga, on the other side of the river Daugava, away from the lights and the traffic of the center, there is a silent neighborhood. Its name is Tornia Counts. A fortified tower built in the Middle Ages used to warn Riga about possible danger approaching, about unwelcome intruders wanting to cross the river. The tower does not stand nowadays, but Signe moved there.
Uh, I'm fine, kind of, Uh, I believe that everybody whom you could ask this question could answer maybe similarly nowadays when you're sitting at home after 8 in the lockdown here in Latvia. So I don't think that we have, or actually that we are sharing pretty much the same feelings. How do you feel?
I'm kind of enjoying the peace and the limitation in doing things, which is, I'll tell you how. I don't know, because I spend all day working. And by the time I finish is kind of dark and we kind of close to 7, which is curfew time.
Yeah.
But I just get enough time to go out for a quick walk. Like today, for example, around 6, I was outside. And so far, I mean, I'm okay. As long as I find something creative to do or some sort of pastime, I'm okay.
Yeah, I was also working today, and did I have time to have a walk? This is the strange thing that I can't really remember because the day seems quite similar. So was it yesterday that I had a walk, or was it today? So this is also one peculiarity about this lockdown time. Yeah, and the time doesn't seem to be very linear, or it isn't anyway. But the sense of the time sometimes used to be linear. But now we kind of feel that it's everything is like all together or all the same, or maybe there are some differences, and yeah.
I get what you're saying. It's like a big block of the same stuff all the time. Rimi,
Yeah.
before it closes down, a quick walk. Are you working remotely?
Yes, I do.
Can't complain. I don't know. I think so far I feel okay. I
You
don't
can't
feel.
complain always, actually. I think you can complain always. But
Yeah.
the question is if you are doing that, maybe.
Are we sacrificing at the moment? Do you feel like you're sacrificing a lot?
Yes, exactly. At the very moment, are you sacrificing? And if you are truly answering, well, you're alive. So
Yeah.
and sometimes I get quite frustrated. I usually do not engage in those Facebook conversations when people are getting frustrated about various things, especially that they can't go out now after 9 and they have their routines, and somebody has been used to run, somebody wants to walk a dog, somebody has a late like lecturing time and they want to get a fresh air. So many reasons, and that people are usually not understanding why those government people, why they're having those restrictions. My routines are so innocent.
Me.
Yeah,
Me.
it's like me, everything is about me, everything is like around me, and also the rules and the restrictions should be gathered around me and my habits. So it feels a bit
You're right.
like childish approach. So
It is understandable to a certain degree. It depends, like, for example, I understand people that get frustrated because their normal job or they got problems that
yeah.
come from a financial situation, and the fact that the restriction is kind of damaging their profit. So I understand that eventuality. The moment it reaches Facebook and it reaches all that forum of rage or whatever, it's a bit weird because, I mean, to be fair, like probably it's down to character. Like if you feel angry, would you just go to Facebook?
Yeah. No, what would I do?
I don't want to,
Just
for example, if I feel angry, I know, sorry, if I
yeah,
feel angry, I got two options. I either have the chance to vent with somebody that can understand me,
yeah,
or I keep it for myself because there's no solution, or I'm not able to talk about it rationally, so I keep it for myself. So I think when they go to Facebook, they're ready to engage with people that might disagree with them, right? They're looking for a fight, I believe.
yeah. Because they want somehow to maintain this anger and give some more woods to the anger, so that they can continue to burn and burn.
Yeah.
Somehow it feels maybe, I don't know, gives some kind of I don't know what exactly, but yeah.
You are a positive, peaceful person. But
Well,
no,
sometimes I am angry as well. What could I do? I think maybe I would just make a grumpy face and sit at home and
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
or sometimes I write
yeah,
something.
yeah.
Also, some very rude words. Yeah, because I feel I have done it a couple of times, and it really helps that you can like just let it out, not to anybody, but just like on the paper or on the. It can be anything actually. You can also like pretend that you are kind of having a conversation with somebody, or just like yeah, using some swearing words or whatever comes up, and just like feel you don't kind of feel that you're not allowed to use those words because somebody would get offended.
So you're
So
telling me, I'm imagining something like that. You might have a reason to be angry at some point, one like everybody.
yeah, that's normal.
And you
Yeah,
go,
that's
oh no, there's not just you. Absolutely. But you go home and you might open a file or a diary where you just vent in a rush about all your rage, and
yeah,
yeah.
sometimes yes. And also another thing that I have done is just to drink a glass of water.
All right.
So it really helps. It's not that I would always you know be interested in calming me down right away. But it really helps that if you drink a glass of water, while you are drinking it, something that just becomes very, yeah, and it's
Physical.
yeah, space. You get space, more space.
Yeah.
So
It feels like the best way to interrupt your thoughts is actually to be involved with something that involves your
yeah,
body. I
that
would
is
put I
something
would
like
put
that.
my head under the cold water if I'm very angry.
Yeah, but yeah.
For the winter time. Well, anyway, I understand. You told me that you moved to an area that of Riga, which is so romantic and beautiful, and
Torgans. I'm very happy with the area, and I'm still exploring it gradually. I
mhm.
can't say that I know the surroundings. I didn't have enough time yet to explore it fully, but I'm doing my best. The autumn has been like brilliant here, and I live in a wooden house here. Yes, and there is a yard. And at the same time, we have the big streets, Vienības gatve and Ulmaņa
Yeah,
gatve, very
yeah.
close. So you kind of feel like being in a city and in the countryside at the same time. So I and the street is called Robežiela. It's a border street, and somehow it's very well goes together with my I don't know life path or something like that, because I was
Oh.
born in Valka, which is a border town. The concept of borders is very present in my life somehow.
We're talking about a town that it has a border right in there in the town.
Yes.
And how does it, when you say that the border has been part of your life, would you like to tell me more about that? What happens when you have a street with a You got the Estonians on the other side, or what do you remember of those days when you were younger? And
Actually, when I was a child, it was back in Soviet times, and we didn't feel like a physical border there. Of course, we kind of knew where it is, and but I had friends on the Estonian side, and also yes, some classmates were half Estonians, half Latvians. But then, after Latvia regained its independence, they set up a border again. And then it was taken away again when we entered into European Union. So the very concept of borders is also very changeful. So there it is and there it isn't. So it's kind of situational phenomena, and I somehow sometimes asked myself also, like, also in the relationship, they say, the psychologists say that you have to like set your borders or whatever. It is because they don't exist actually. Also in physical space there are no borders. Of course, like when we perceive the world, we kind of measure it like the body is kind of a reference point, and everything what is outside of our body seems to be like something else, and what is our body, it's like me. Yes. And so, but it's just a matter of perception, and it can change, and this is the most interesting thing. I was in Valka a few days ago, and there was this time change in
yeah, of course. But I noticed, unfortunately.
yes. So, and I, like everybody else, probably I woke up 1 hour earlier, like I usually did.
I went to the kitchen the next day because I was working early. And I looked at the clock because I'm particularly slow in the morning. And it took me, I think I spent 10 minutes trying to understand what was going on.
Yes, I woke up that morning, and I also thought I was a bit disorientated, and I thought what to do. And then I had a walk around the Valka town. Somehow it was a very sunny morning, and I visited some, I wouldn't say my favorite, but some places that mean something to me in the town, and took some pictures. And then I went, there is a little, well, you most likely wouldn't consider it a hill, but when you get up to that hill, then you see both towns, like Latvia and Estonia.
Really? Right.
And I was really like looking, like it just looks like there is no border, and it just felt very natural to look at the view, and there was no border somehow. Although I knew that I can show you the pictures. Maybe this was the street that led to my school. So those paintings are quite old, actually. I don't remember exactly if they were there when I went to school, but something was there on the walls. So this was one picture I took, and then there was a house. It's strange what you remember from your childhood, right? Sometimes this was a house, and maybe it's quite natural that it's not covered with sun in this picture, because in this house a dog lived that bite my leg, and I was really upset. He had very sharp teeth and barking like so. Then there was this place which is, you see it? Yes. You
Yeah,
see
I
the
see it a
picture?
bit, absolutely. Yeah, the people that are going to listen to the podcast, they're not going to be able to see it though, but I
But
see
it's
it.
so I should describe the place so that they can imagine. It's a block house, and the sun is shining very brightly on the windows. And then here is an empty spot. You know, there is pretty much nothing. Some stones, some pavement, or something like that.
Mhm.
But this place somehow is important for me because when I was a kid, there was an ice cream kiosk, and one can buy three kinds of ice creams there. Imagine, like the white one, the brown one, and the lemon one. And the queues were as long and as they are at the Lidl shop now, I guess.
At the
So,
moment. Yeah.
yes. So, and we were like super excited about those three ice cream kinds. Not like today, you can buy, I don't know, like hundreds, thousands kinds of ice creams, most
What was your
likely.
favorite at the time?
I
The
think
brown
sometimes
one.
I took also the lemon one. The white one was not. And yours? You remember you had plenty of types, most likely.
Maybe there was a cornetto, I remember, or something like that.
Cornetto. Oh, it sounds.
But then there was my favorite was the most boring one. Plastic pipe. Those pipes that they have a face somehow, like a pipe with a face in the place where you put tobacco, but not made out of wood, made out of plastic. That was an ice cream, and it
Yeah.
was filled with whipped cream. So extremely boring. Cream. You're supposed to suck on it, and then that was my favorite. It was pretty much it was frozen whipped cream. So even if there were many types of ice cream, when I was younger, this was my favorite. But I don't know why. And now when I think about it, it looks so boring. And so anyway.
This is this used to be one of the most respectful buildings in the 30s in Valka. It was the elementary school, and like made by some, I don't know, famous or not so famous architect. And it was kind of like, yeah, it was the kind of beauty of the town. And in the wartime, in the Second World War, the Russian army took it over, and they stayed there until the 80s, actually. And
Whoa.
when they left, they took everything with them, even the tiles. And now this building, although the sun is shining on it, it's called the Tērauda Skola. Although the sun is shining on it in this picture, it's one of the saddest buildings. And when I was a child, my classmates went to smoke there, and I was accompanying them sometimes. I didn't smoke by then, but it was a bit scary to go inside this building. But this is the paradox of at some point this can be a most respectful and most beautiful building. And after a while, not a while, but after you find it like, and nobody is doing anything about it. It's just staying there for already 30 and more years.
So it's almost like a statement staying there. Like it used to be the best, one of the best, the most beautiful buildings, and then it's been stripped off and totally. I get it. Yeah, there are more examples of that in Latvia, buildings that had that destiny, right?
Yeah, this is the river I used to swim in. Actually, nowadays the children are not mostly allowed. I was secretly swimming. My mother didn't know about it. So if she knew, she would have had a heart attack, I guess. But that's what the Soviet kids used to do, just hang around and now near my house, there's a children's hospital. And when I was a kid, I think I was 8 or 9, me together with one boy, we just found a hole in the fence, which was around the big hospitals area, and we escaped, and the doctors were chasing after us. So
But did you in those days in Valka? Did you also Like, for example, when we were younger in Italy, we used to trespass abandoned buildings.
It's very, very strange, and also it's kind of warm feeling
Fun.
that somebody else did it at the same time in another country. It was fun. I really liked it.
Pure adrenaline. And then there's a lot of comedy involved as well, because when there's a group of boys, we have to show that we're brave. Deep inside, we're shitting ourselves. We're trying to compete and smoke their cigarette, and I'm going to be the first one that goes there. But these buildings, they're in the dark and they are like totally abandoned. And we were afraid of homeless people because they would have been older than us. And we didn't believe in monsters necessarily. At the time, we were afraid of two things: being attacked by a homeless or stepping on a syringe that he had heroin, or that he had because there were a lot of people on heroin. So the first thing that your mom used to tell you when you left the house to go to the park: be careful with the syringes. And at school, there were documentaries against the heroin and everything. So you imagine that the park was full of syringes with the needle up, this kind of phobia or whatever. But the trespassing part of it, Signe, was fun.
Yeah, I don't remember. Maybe it was also in the dark, but I don't remember heroin over there, but maybe I encountered it at some point, but I didn't know it was heroin. Yeah, you see, I will just show you the picture, the last picture. It's those two states. This is the Valka part, and this is the Valga part. They look pretty much the same. So
They're looking the same.
My mind. Yeah, when I went to study at the university, and that was I think I was very, very much intended to leave Valka because I wanted to get some fresh air,
Of course.
And meet different people and kind of leave my old school image there. So because it's quite difficult to break. I don't know how it was with you at school, but even if you feel that you are internally changing, but you are surrounded by the same people at school, it's very hard somehow to go
to break free.
And then just to go to school and tell everybody, no, I'm a different person today. Like.
You're right. When it happened to me, but I was I left after university, but I was among the few ones that left Italy, and at the beginning, some of the people around me didn't understand that choice, and they started telling me, well, Fabrizio is crazy, because sometimes when people see something totally different, I don't think there is anything exceptional about leaving a country to go to another. I don't think it's exceptional. I think it's quite normal. But the thing is, when people don't understand something, they don't understand it because they don't feel it. They describe you as someone that is not normal, because it's actually better for them to understand.
Yeah, true.
So at the beginning, they said, well, Fabrizio is going to England. But Fabrizio is a bit crazy. But I wasn't crazy. I was just bored. I didn't go to England to look for a job or whatever. Of course, I went to England to work, clearly, but it wasn't out of a strategic decision for my future career. I just went away because I wanted to. Probably like when you went to Riga, you moved to a city that it was bigger and it was more fun.
Did you get out of your boredom in England?
I did somehow, just because but I was very seldom on my own, and I didn't have a lot of time because I started working a lot. And so there was no more boredom anymore, but there was a lot of like running 100 miles per hour. So it was a bit extreme, because you leave boredom to go somewhere where you always doing something and not necessarily something that you want to do.
Yeah, talking about the boredom, I remember when I was a kid, and it's usually quite obvious for kids.
You could cut boredom with a knife.
In the summertime, you read a book, you did this and this, and you what to do? I don't know what to do. Like go out in the yard, and like not all of the days were like that, but also to like wait for something and to wait for your birthday. It was also boring, but now it's somehow. I can't really I can't really imagine myself being bored. Time just flies, and the wise people would say, yeah, that's what happens when you age. So, but when you really experience it, it's not just a theory for you, and you feel that you see the difference between the boredom that you had in childhood and the lack of time that you're experiencing now. Both those experiences are very true and very concrete,
What does it mean to be mature or be old? When I was a teenager, I was thinking, I wonder one day, overnight, I will feel I'm mature. But one thing that was very nice and interesting, it was that every time that I would go, when I was very young, to buy sweets, like when you used to go and buy ice cream in Valka, it was somebody else's money, and I was under the control of my parents because I was too young. So I thought one day I would be able to have my own money, and I don't have to ask permission to anyone to leave the house. I can go to the supermarket and buy all that junk food. This was my idea of being mature at the time. It wasn't like having a job or whatever. It was actually me saying, I don't have to tell anybody that I'm leaving the house. It's my house. I leave, I go to Rimi, and I buy those licorice or that marshmallow.
Marshmallow, yeah. Oh yeah, for you, like it was the concept of matureness. For me, I think it was. I remember something similar about freedom. That I had an idea once. I was pretty small back then. I think I stole money from my mother. I took it, and then I went to the shop, and I bought, I think, the most useless things in my life. It was like the set of batteries, like that I couldn't use for anything. I didn't have such a device. I just liked the form, the shape of the batteries. They were square. So, and it was like maybe there were some 20 batteries. And the other thing was, those, how do you call those? The thing that you, when you're skiing, you're having a ski mask or something like that. But I wasn't, a mountain skier. I just, there was no need for me to have this thing. So, but somehow I desired it. And in the end, those two items turned out the most useless for me. But somehow I felt that I have this money now. I can. This was my choice to buy them, because otherwise I had to ask my mother every time I want this and I want this, and she would say, no, you don't need this. We don't have money or something like that. So.
Imagine this situation could be funny. It's good that you didn't bump into any of your friends when you got that money, because if you had, they would say, "What are you going with that, Signe?" Well, I think about some batteries and a goggle. I said, whoa, what are you doing? You crazy? I want some chips, some ice cream, or whatever. So, what year was it when you arrived in Riga?
It was 1998, I think. First, I studied philology, then I went to philosophy for my master's thesis, and I didn't fit in right away, and somehow I was a bit also disorientated geographically. Yes, and compared to Valka, of course, it was a big city, and but yeah, somehow, I don't know, I found people I got along with quite fast, and my uni mates were cool, I guess. And somehow I tried to kind of fit in gradually. But I don't have a very specific feelings regarding, like, because it was not really the first time when I was in Riga. I had been there also before, just like a visitor. So it wasn't like just, oh, I'm in a big city, countryside girl. But yeah, the time when I started to be a inhabitant of Riga, it was different, of course, than when I was just a visitor and getting to the zoo. The feeling was a bit like a one-way ticket.
I remember you used to live, before you moved to Tornikans now, you used to live in Zirnavo, I presume, right?
Zirnavo, yes, yeah.
Zirnavo. And now you moved to an area which I mean, whoever is listening to us and is from Riga, if you don't know...
Who is still listening to us?
Some people just fell asleep and woke up. With Tornikans is we met in Agenskans. And I remember that we had a beer and a couple of cigarettes, and we were talking about how Pardaugava actually resembles some sort of small countryside Latvian town, more or less, a bunch of them in Riga. But when you arrived in 1998 in Riga, where did you live?
In the dormitory. Pretty harsh experience because it wasn't like anything, like I didn't have my spare room or something like that. We were some 4 people in a room, in one room, and everybody was doing everything like at the same time and people came from other rooms, and it was a total noise, like a constant noise most of the time. That's why I sometimes went back to Valka to study.
Where was the campus?
It was in Visvalja Street. It's no, sorry, it was Tālivalža. Those
Soviet building, right? A friend of mine used to be there in the 90s. And he used to tell me exactly what you said, like a lot of cows in the dormitory. But they were boys mostly, like doing the crazy stuff together. The only problem was the cockroaches, the tarakani.
Yeah. This is something I remember as well. I was like scared to death. Oh, no.
But they were small, right? They were small. They were not big.
What you consider small, like this size, I guess.
Yeah, still big enough to
bite you, to kill you even, yeah.
So philology, studying old books or studying linguistics, what is it exactly?
Well, there was pretty much of everything, like linguistics, literature, like world literature, Latvian, lots of Latvian literature. I think I have read so many Latvian authors' books in that time that I would have never done without this university experience. It was, but also not just Latvians, also like world literature, and yeah, I was also interested in linguistics, but not that very much. But then when I turned to philosophy, I got interested very much in cognitive linguistics, and this was my passion for some time. I went also to study to Helsinki for half a year, and did my thesis on that subject. But now it's history. I wouldn't defend my thesis now today. And even if I did, I think I doubt that anybody is listening now. But that the concept of boredom, I just remembered when I did my first performance in time. It was 4 years ago, maybe. There was this performance festival, and this was well, it is a bit connected to linguistics and language. Well, in a way, because it was a language performance. Maybe you can call it like that. Maybe not. My intention was to kind of get back to the state like that we all know when we are children, when we were children, like around 3 or 4. Do you remember? How did you perceive world?
I think the only thing that I remember is my granny cutting salami. And the reason why I knew I was that age, maybe is because I was looking at the table, and it was...
Well, maybe not 3 years, 4 or 5, let's say. Like,
considering how tall was the table,
yeah,
I would say the only memory that I have is the fact that I was looking up at the table and everything that people were doing was up. And my granny was cutting salami. I remember that.
So you remember yourself looking at something or somebody. Yeah. But I remember myself going around with my mother and talking like so much, like constantly. I was like a radio. I was commenting everything. And, when you are such a small child, you don't have a very, proper grammar in your head. And you don't have those breaks that you can say this or pay attention to this thing or comment on this thing or not comment on this thing. Like, you pretty much tell everything what is on your mind. Okay. And also in a way that is not very grammatically well structured.
Of course.
And I see a lot of freedom in this, and I wanted to kind of get back to that state in a way. And this was my intention, along with the other intention to kind of break my self-image of obligation or intention to entertain people or to be interesting or funny or something like that. I wanted to deconstruct this image. And so I prepared actually for half a year or even more with various exercises which were not directly connected to performance, which resulted in the process of speaking whatever comes up to your mind for 1 hour. I didn't have any script or topics. I was like totally empty, like in that situation. And the performance took place in the bathroom. I was lying in the bath. There were around me like some 14 people, everybody like with closed eyes. And I was kind of ready also for people to get bored, like now maybe that nobody's listening. And I was ready to people getting bored of what I was saying. I also actually wanted to have this experience because constantly, like, I don't know how it's about you, but it's very natural that you try to kind of engage and like create this atmosphere, and you have to convey the message or something like that. But it's not accepted that you can just play around with language, with images, with what just comes up into your head, and you just tell it. And it was this was one of my intentions as well. And it wasn't easy actually for 1 hour to talk like this, but this was a great experience. And I don't know if I could do it one more time. Like I did it twice, those 4 years ago, but and the first time it was quite funny and people laughed, and I was like, I'm entertaining people again. But the second time was a bit like more dark. It was like I also had some dark things popping up. It wasn't anything like super personal about me, like my stories or I don't know, some very specific things that I could feel ashamed for afterwards. Mm-hmm. It's just what comes up into your like consciousness.
There's an element of randomness. And sometimes it can be a bit more obscure. I heard of this because we got people in common between me and you. Clearly, we cannot be what we used to be when we were younger. You were almost looking for that awkwardness.
Yes,
Because
yes.
we couldn't, because that awkwardness of having been surrounded by people, and you were trying to generate that in order to probably try and see it again, or feel more comfortable with it, because our kids don't care in that sense. That's what is
Yes,
beautiful about it.
exactly.
And
They don't care.
it made me think about some sort of compromise, your description of a performance, in the sense that how many social etiquette we use, and how many worries, and how many so many conventions that we have when we speak to each other. And but it seems that there is no chance to be what we were 20 years ago, 25 or 30. There's no chance to be children again. But I feel very well when the less I abide to the etiquette or whatever with people. But it's very difficult for me. But when it happens, when I can be more direct, that's the word. And probably that's the beauty about growing up, being more comfortable with the way that you are and going away from those conventions, because they can be toxic a bit. Because at some point you're going to go home and say, why was I over polite then? Was it necessary to be over polite?
Yeah.
Am I being over polite because I like that person, or am I being over polite because I'm insecure? Most probably the second one. But sometimes something happens that I don't care. I want to be myself, but it happens very seldom. And your performance, on one side, wants to reconnect with when we were children, but somehow it tells probably the people that were looking at it that it's okay to just
be. It's just so simple. Just be. And I think it's of course we cannot get back to our childhood's moods and experience, and actually nobody really wants to become a child, I believe.
No, I don't want to do this again.
And you have all those childhood sufferings, but I think that what we are searching is this free spirit, which is with us all the time. And but just in the childhood, it was like there were no fences around it. It was very free. It is still there with us, but there we are conditioned, and we have like gathered big fences around us, etiquettes, norms, values, standards, and then we have to just to kind of destroy it gradually. That's the meaning of life, basically.
We have responsibilities. All of a sudden we're pretending we're not kids anymore, but we still are. It's a stupid example. Rimi is a chain of supermarkets. But everybody that listens to us knows what Rimi is. But look, sometimes I go to Rimi and I look around, and it could be a supermarket in England or in Italy. It's not about that. But you look at 80 years old child, you look at a 50 years old child. We all look like we're still children somehow. And
sometimes, yes.
We're kind of pretending a bit, because
those postures and everything.
But the thing is, like I find it useful when I get upset with someone, when I get a rush of anger, to look at that person as a teenager, because I can calm down, because I say we've all been children. So this guy is being a bit grumpy. He's being over grumpy about something. Who's usually over grumpy? Kids are over grumpy. It's okay, because he's got the beard, he's dressed like a 50-year-old man, but he's a child like me. And we're just a child in a kindergarten. I said, no, you should go first. No.
And I will tell my mother what you did to me.
Well, how do you think that the current situation, like we've been in this for 2 years, you've probably been able to go to work. You haven't worked remotely all the time, right? It changed.
Yeah.
Has the pandemic changed Signe's attitude, or
there was a time, maybe some 4 or 5 years ago, when I used to tell my friends that I feel like I'm a different person every day, and I really felt this, and my friends were laughing a little bit and joking about, oh, this is a different
you're drunk?
person. Yeah, like, well, but this was a very strong feeling that I had over, I think, 1 or even 2 years. And I was like waking up in the morning and I felt like, well, I'm kind of the same, but I can't describe it, but I'm different today. And yeah, I still cannot describe this experience, but because it was very, very intense and unique, I guess now I'm more like I have stabilized my changefulness, let's say so. But yes, of course, I think it has impacted. The pandemic has impacted my relationship with people as well. I somehow, even in summer, I don't know how about you, but even in summer, I couldn't really dare to invite people, lots of people, to my birthday party or to a brunch, pancake brunch or something like that. It somehow feels not right. And so I have used to meet very few people at a time, not in big groups. Mm, I have visited some birthday parties in summer outside and so on, but and I have been to some concerts, but still in this level, somehow this communication has become maybe more, you know, also my circle of friends has changed actually. People who I'm very close to are the ones that I meet or communicate with daily, let's say. But previously, like I did used to go out and like meet various people and chat and have this small talk. So I think the relationships are not as superficial for me as they used to be at sometimes. This is the good thing. The bad thing maybe it's just that I'm not meeting so many people anymore and not getting new experiences. Perhaps I'm just wondering. I don't know. I don't have a clear answer to that. But I also, my work was very much and still is connected to moving around. And I happened to go to Vidzemes television like recently and work with my colleague from Georgia, the great script writer and director Alexander Grigoryan, and I happened to meet people and to interact and have new impressions. And he was also giving very inspiring recommendations, and we worked on some creative projects. So it felt like, oh yeah, I want it. I want new people in my circles, but right now it doesn't seem right,
The pandemic has kind of shrunk a bit,
Yes.
but you missing the kind of social, what do you call it, cobweb of that is connected with creativity, with work.
More creativity, job as well, and it's not like small talking in various, I don't know, gatherings where you have a beer and just chit chat with and not.
I like your dress. I like your shoes.
Yeah. Oh, I've been to Italy recently.
Oh, you
Where
can't
have
go
you
wrong
been?
with Italy.
Where have you been? Yeah, right. Have you been to anywhere? So and.
Paris is beautiful.
Yeah, exactly. And that kind of conversations I'm not missing very much, but working on some projects, also learning about people's life stories, what they think really, and what they are passionate for. That's the thing that I miss sometimes. Yeah.
I'm trying to play safe. I'm trying not to see enough people. Try not to see any people outside the house, but I just go for a walk, and pretty much what's keeping me up is this podcast, because I'm like you. I'm working all day, and this podcast gives me an excuse to prepare a cover for it, edit it a bit.
Yeah.
It makes me look forward to it. A bit of reading and a bit of that, and the day is fine. It's done. It's okay for me for now. I don't know how long I can do this for, if it's a month or whatever. But at the moment, it feels particularly healthy, and I don't suffer too much of the lack of going around and meeting people. Not yet. I'm actually happy that we're approaching winter.
Are you?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I like one of the reasons why I'm happy in Latvia is because I like the change of seasons.
Yeah, that's actually what people say. And if you're living here on the spot, it's difficult to, evaluate this opportunity. Then it's too cold, or it's too windy. But actually, yeah.
Signe, there is a bit of an objective point with the fact that we need light. But I mean, like, I'll tell you one thing about the area where you moved, to give you an idea how much I like seasons in Latvia.
Yeah.
When I moved to Latvia, it was 2018. I think I started working at the end of the year, that winter. And I was working, I was teaching in Mukusala. There was this little office over there. And it was kind of snowing that the year, and I would go home and take towards maybe around 3-4, so twilight already. I would take there is a tram, maybe 19 or 12, I can't remember, Bauskajela through Tornikans. And for me, this was crazy. A bit of snow in Tornikans, which looks like it's been the same for maybe 2 centuries. That's why it's beautiful. But maybe Tipografia Jela, I don't remember which street it was. The tram, which is it's probably not the most comfortable of transport in Riga, but it's nice. I like the atmosphere in it. I don't know why. And there was the street, and the tram was going particularly slow, and there was a wooden house, like one of the wooden houses, like the one where you live. This massive window with the cat. So snow outside, twilight. There was a cat looking outside the window. You could see the Christmas tree glowing inside. I felt like in a Coca-Cola
commercial.
And I felt, whoa, this area is amazing. And then you have a bridge. So that's why I'm looking forward to the coziness of the Latvian Christmas, because it's a moment where we all kind of, we all spend time together with blankets and Richurachu. What's going on? That's the window.
Yeah, but I have a blurred background, so you don't see it, but there are the lights, you see?
Is the lights
in the window? Yeah. In the window. Okay. So just referring to the Christmas atmosphere.
And I presume there is a bunch of cats outside in the street.
Yeah, there are cats. Yeah. You love cats?
Me too. Are you planning to get one, or you want to feed one outside? What's the plan?
One of my cats is living in Valtiņa, so.
I don't know what we were talking about, but anyway. I mean,
about Christmas and tram, and this seasons change, and change in general, and
I mean, everything is
change.
For example, like the way that I experienced spring in Latvia, I never experienced anywhere else.
Is there a border between winter and spring? Can you see a border? If we started with borders,
I think in Latvia you would see more of a border, because it just came out of a darker winter where you just, it's the first time that you go out, and everything is in that period, but it doesn't happen overnight, clearly.
Yeah,
But in
that's the thing,
Italy,
actually.
you're right, but compared to Italy, though, transition between winter and spring is a bit more gentle, is a bit more, is not like you don't have a, for example, there is no border, Signe, but the thing is, you have a map, you're accustomed to all those nights in the dark with the snow, that, and then you come out of it, and you take a walk, and flowers are around, and the pollen and whatever. So maybe you're right, there is no border, but there is a strong memory of what winter was compared to Italy, south of Italy, where the winter is more in the mountains. It's not. But
yeah, this is actually, you're totally right. I think that it's the memory thing, how you combine your memories to what you are experiencing now.
yeah, and probably it's the same thing that we were saying earlier. We're talking about borders, and we're talking about Balka. Probably there is no, you don't feel like there is a real border when you look at it from the hill. Or then we were talking about borders with people and our body or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same thing. It's the memories that produce borders. The strong winter in Latvia, the memory of it, the fact that we've been accustomed to it, produces some sort of interruption or division. Maybe with the memories, the awareness that we have out of ourselves produces boundaries where we talk to other people. I don't know, but it's more of a, I'm exaggerating now.
I think it's I could even agree.
So you studied philosophy as well, right?
Yes.
And there is something when you speak that I noticed, that I noticed with other people that study philosophy, differently than me, that I didn't study philosophy, or you're quite tidy when you speak, in the sense that you know where you start, that you know where you go to. Yeah, like for example, earlier you were saying, now for example, Fabrizio, I'm going to jump to something else. And they have this gift, or they learn this kind of how to be clear with the words when they speak, how to be tidy in the presentation of what they want to say. I always envied it a bit, because I'm a bit all over the place when I speak. I come up, but I like that. I like that because it's more enjoyable, because clarity is good when you can understand something. And I presume philosophy helps with that. Why you really need to use the words in the right way. Is that true?
It's the good point, actually, that you stressed out. Yes, perhaps it has had a great impact, actually, on how I think, and especially how I structure, yes, my presentation or my message, most likely. And that's what the philosophy studies gives you. It doesn't give you very practical, practically applicable knowledge, like how to like cut something, or you can cut the concepts, but cut your thought into pieces, but not very something. Yeah.
Kind of, you have an urgency to be clear when you speak. But I make a lot of preambles, and a lot of, I ask a question, but then in the meantime, I ask something. I'm a bit messy with that. And the thing is, with probably your case, because of philosophy, I guess it has to do with the fact that when you have to explain something abstract that you cannot show, right? You can't show, look, this is a phone. So when you have to express a theory, you just have, your words are everything you have, pretty much. So you have to be able to illustrate something without showing it.
Yes, this could be also the point. And I'm kind of, I don't know if I dare to say this, but I'm more of a minimalist in my, I don't know, the way of living. So I like clear, message and clear, I don't know, not, I also, my surroundings are not too much stuffed with things. But on the other hand, I'm maximalist in if I if I'm not a minimalist, but on the contrary, when I want to reach something or if I really want it, I would go for it. Like
I get it.
then because I think I can't complain about some things that I don't succeed with, because I think if I really wanted them, I would have got them. I want this. I feel I need to do this. I want this. I'm confident. I don't care. And you do it. And that's it. But sometimes I didn't succeed. I'm a loser, or I don't know why other people get this and I don't. So, and this is just like you don't really want it. Like
if you failed, it means that you didn't want it. So
sometimes you can. Well, actually, yes. Sometimes you can give this a kind of advice, but you have to feel the right moment and the right situation. When a person just comes to you crying, then don't in the very intense emotional state. But then when this person is like, well, when he or she has calmed down or can think more or less rationally, then you can discuss this. And
otherwise it's selfish. Otherwise it's just
it's like I know better than you.
It took me a while to learn that. Maybe because you don't have so many close friends, and sometimes there are people that are not really close, they come and complain and
this is very frustrating that not so close people come and complain.
I don't care. No, because in a sense it's easier. So with people that you don't know, I'm normally empathic, but there are people that really come and tell you things that you say, whoa, what is, I don't know.
And the case is just they only come and tell you the bad things, and they only complain. They're not sharing with you their joys, but they just come and complain. This is the most frustrating.
It could be anybody else. It doesn't need to be me. But also the thing is, okay, so if you want to complain, but you want to unpack the problem, and just we can discuss it, and we can be fun, and we can have a polite fight or debate, it makes sense. But if you're coming to cry on my shoulder where I've never seen you, we never met. But with friends it's different, because with real friends you have an obligation, and you put yourself more under scrutiny. It's easier with a stranger to be without boundaries sometimes and say, I don't care about what you're talking about. But with friends, it's like you have an obligation to understand them a bit more, I would say. Maybe.
Yeah, true.
I don't know.
Yeah, it is. I also feel like that. So.
But then anyway, you lose them. Sometimes you lose them anyway. You can't do anything about that. You grow away pretty much.
Yeah, like this, or they just flew away, or the ship just departs. Sure. But sometimes you both are in different ships and they go
away. But and also sometimes it's not even about the fight itself.
Yeah, it's not. You just like grow out like of your old clothes sometimes, and I don't mean the friend is a clothes, but you both grow out of something that connected you maybe, and then
I still sometimes I haven't come to terms with some of those situations, and because there's so much, because you were so much younger, you see, when there's nostalgic factors involved, whatever. But you're right. I mean, you grow away. But the thing is, it would be so much nice to recognize the fact that peacefully that we grow away instead of pointing fingers, and the problem was there before already.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you, like, I got back to the performance topic again. Have you experienced some performance that you
enjoy?
Both feel like enjoy, and the one that you don't understand what's going on?
I have almost no experience at all as a viewer of performances. And I try to get close into, like, for example, art performance.
Mm-hmm.
Something that I'm not accustomed to watch. So I can detect that I like something, but it feels like I don't have enough experience. I think there has to be a bit of experience there, because you have to be more open-minded. And the more experience you have, the more you probably able to look at nuances of things or whatever. Almost all the performances that I've seen, I enjoyed them. I didn't get bored, and but at the same time, I didn't get extra excited about it. That's my problem. See what I'm saying? But it's also a medium. What is it? Medium? Nah.
Medium.
Type of medium that I'm extremely new to it. It's almost like sometimes when I enjoy them more rationally than. So I read something about it. It makes sense, but I'm very new to it. But the reason why I really like yours is because I didn't see it as well. So when you don't see it and people tell you about it, it becomes it's almost when when somebody tells you a story and you don't know, you don't see the people, so you start imagining things. You imagine the scene yourself, so there is more involvement. I liked it because of the concept, and I liked it because of the fact that I didn't see it, because I had to use my imagination. But at the end of the day, Signe, I need to see more performances. I haven't
Me
seen.
too, actually. Yeah.
When they cut, do you remember? I don't know, the famous 1960s, probably, when the audience goes there and cuts a bit of
It's the Marina Abramovic. No, it was Marina who audience could come and cut or do whatever they wanted with her body. So, but there was also this guy called what was his name? Chris Burden, or I think it was Chris Burden. He shot himself. Well, not he didn't shoot himself, but his friend shot him from 15. He really shot him in the shoulder, and he was like aiming at him directly, and then in the last second he just moved a bit to the left and hit him on the shoulder. And it was a very intense. It was documented also, this performance. I'm not an expert in performance art history, but this is what I also know, and somehow it impressed me quite a lot, because this was a reference actually to what we are seeing in American movies, that you can be shot anywhere, anytime. American people have, the guns at homes, and but they're kind of, this visual side of this, and you don't really know how it feels. And he wanted to have this experience of getting shot, which might and do sound stupid for many people. And this is with performances in general, that people who hadn't seen any performance, or who are not open enough, they think that there are stupid things and just like nonsense happening. And this is a challenge actually for performance art to somehow, I don't know if it will become a mass, exact Abramovich thing.
I've learned on my skin conceptual art. So we're talking about we're talking about the Chapman brothers. We're talking about what are the most important ones, all those guys and whatever. That is an extremely broad type of format. But at the beginning, when I was extremely new to it, I still remember, I was a bit like, what is this? what are they trying to do? Are they?
Yeah.
I was hostile to it because I was accustomed to this kind of idea of bourgeois art, of like painting and whatever. I mean,
And theater and
theater.
painting and
But I didn't go to the theater, so that's. So at the beginning I was like that, and then I realized that precious ingredient that I learned a bit, not in full, is the fact that at some point you have to be open, like and because there's, I don't know how to say that. It's just with performance art, I have to also be more open because I'm not accustomed to them. But you have to get rid of, you have to wash away all the kind of instinctive rejection that comes from the fact that conceptual art can be anything and nothing. It's about the fact that sometimes people they see it in an arrogant way because they think that it's easy to do. But the beauty of it is the freedom that people have.
You know, for me, I have, it's not that I have defined, but I feel that there is some important points into what feels for me a performance art, and why, like, washing the dishes can also be a performance. You can do it for 5 hours, just wash the dishes and have the audience. But if you are washing the dishes and kind of acting, or you are somewhere else in your mind, nobody's gonna like be with you. Like, I think the important thing is the presence of the person doing you're very connected with the dishes, with the process of the washing the dishes, and you are not the center of attention, actually, which is important for me. You're not the center of attention. The process itself, the experiences itself is the center of the attention, and only in that case people have a chance to experience something. Otherwise, it's just washing the dishes, you know.
There are the thing is that there are absolutely, but there are also like a formats that make it confusing to recognize what you're doing with the purpose of what you're doing, which is like, for example, slow TV.
Like what?
Think about slow TV.
Yeah. Okay.
Slow TV. So we're gonna have a fixed camera on waiters arranging tables at the restaurant. You know, there are these things like 2 hours long video or whatever. So I think personally, if I can give you my kind of new approach to the thing, new because I'm thinking about it now. I like a performance. I like the idea of a performance when you can combine, for example, you were talking about the washing dishes.
Yeah.
I like the fact of combining something normal and of every day, which is like washing dishes, but with some sort of with a creative aspect in it. I don't know how to say it. No, creative probably is not the right word. Like, for example, you were in a bath doing in a bath doing something that was combining something that you would do normally, like a routine, have a bath, and then there was an artistic ingredient, which was
yes. Yeah.
Talking random, like trying to re-emulate your childhood and things like that. If you put together the act of washing dishes with a twist that is artistic or whatever, it can reach an immediateness with from the angle of art. Like, for example, if you combine washing the dishes with the fact that there is, what could it be? There is a weird soundtrack at the room that is almost hysterical. When you calmly wash the dishes, and there is maybe some heavy metal, crazy stuff. I don't know. I'm coming up. You can probably appreciate some sort of message that you're trying to create in between.
Yes, this is exactly, I totally agree, because without any message, why you are doing this, there is also no point. Well, there is a message, there is some setting that you use for doing something. There is the freedom of not acting what you have considered. It just well, maybe you have some very in very broad terms, you have something, I don't know, that you will use this item or maybe not, which is close to you. You will be in this room. There will be maybe some soundtrack or maybe not. How you will switch it on if you feel that it's necessary, and you can kind of improvise. You have the elements that you can improvise with, but still you have a message why you are doing this.
And also, it doesn't have to be like, for example, I came up with an extreme example of heavy metal and washing dishes, which is probably something that happens in kitchens of Latvia, I'm sure. But
heavy metal and dishes.
Heavy metal. But the thing is, the artist provides the context. So it could be something extreme like you trying to re-emulate your childhood and talking randomly. Could be heavy metal, but it could also have the context and say, leave the house now, come to the gallery and look at me washing dishes. I know it sounds like nothing, but already you created a context that makes it different from the genuinity of the act.
Yes.
And to be fair, I like washing dishes so much that if somebody says, leave the house, come to the gallery and watch me washing dishes, I might do that. It's kind of hypnotic. I like that. I just because there is hot water involved. Signe, we can do this again, by the way, whenever you feel like. Well, thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much. It was a pleasure to talk to you, Fabrizio.